What's up, Buddhas? Today we are going to be talking about the fact that you are actually two people. Now, Buddhas, before we get started, I've got a playlist down below with over 100 Buddha Billionaire videos that you can binge watch to accelerate your spiritual awakening. And what do I mean by the fact that you are two men? Now, I'm being gender neutral here. Man as in like human, as in being. So just for the sake of it, man and women, same difference, but you are a man. And in this case, you have the outer man, which is covered in hair from the story of Esau and Jacob in the Bible. But you are literally covered in hair. If you actually take a close look at your entire body, I don't care if you wax or not, you are covered in hair. That's actually why you have to wax your legs and this kind of different stuff and societal reasons, etc. Or shave, which I've given up doing for now. The outer being, the Esau, comes first. And that is the body that can touch. That is the sense perception of this world, and it is entirely real. I'm not saying that it's all an illusion and fake, which it is, but it's a real one, so not the topic of today's video. What we're talking about, though, is the second man inside of you. Your Jacob, who is the imagination, the ideas, the dreamer, the nuance, the evolved being, the God within. Now, again, technically speaking, both Esau, the outside of the person, and Jacob are aspects of the God head here, but we're really talking about coming to terms with the fact that you are both. Now, in the story of Esau and Jacob, Jacob wants to trick his father into getting the birthright of Esau, and to do that, he covers himself in hair. So when his father, who is blind, these stories are so beautifully tied together. When his father is blind and touches the body of Jacob, he thinks that it is Esau, even though it sounds like Jacob, and he gives him his blessing. So yada yada yada, long story short, the inner man, the second of the two sons, the younger brother, the inside imagination, the one with actual journey, the one with an actual intention to succeed and to grow and to expand, read the Bible, totally worth doing. He is able to overcome the outside, which is the Esau, the initial man. And I apologize if some of this biblical speak has scared anyone away. If you're still with me, I don't mean the Bible as in like, you have to read this or you'll go to hell kind of deal. I mean it because it is a relevant documentation of stories that have been misinterpreted, but are still relevant as stories go to explain these concepts. And there's a power behind it. Whether you believe or not in the church is a totally different topic and not something I will really ever talk about on this channel. The concept, though, of being, one being, with two essences. And this is where the Neville Goddards of the world talk about. This is where the living in the end, this is where transurfing, this is where being an alchemist, this is where every freaking doctrine out there about any of this stuff talks about the inner being being born to this world. So every man is born of woman. We know that as a fact. Again, gender is irrelevant, but in order to be this body here right now, I came out of a woman. That's just biology. That happens and it's a fact. But this body, as it grows up and expands, has to learn how to deal with the world. And it is conditioned to fit into the world, which is a good thing and a bad thing. But it is a good thing because if we weren't given any kind of social structure whatsoever and we all just kind of did our own stuff, it'd be an interesting world to live in, but it wouldn't be a very cohesive one, at least not from the level of consciousness that we're born with right now. So when you are born into this world, you start to touch stuff and you start to feel your face and you can poke at mirrors and you can do different stuff and you're learning about the physical, hard world that we're in. And then there comes a point along this path which varies and is not specific to having to be at this age, you must have advanced. No, nothing to do with that. You hit your point at your point. Age is irrelevant, to be honest. Especially once you hit this point. Because when you hit this point, which I feel like I'm at, and that's just an objective assessment of my own existence here, but I feel like if you're watching this kind of content, you're at or around this point where you are realizing that, yes, there's a 3D existence, and yes, I'm very much a part of it. But what is that more thing? What is happening when I sit down and meditate and observe my thoughts? What is going on when I'm imagining where I want to be, or what I want to do, or that bigger bank balance, or that partner that I want to have, or that car that I'm still working at? Where is that all coming from? And if you just objectively look at it, you can say, from a very basic level of understanding here, you can say that that's coming from inside my head. That's an idea. So if we then take that and we run with it, because we've already learned how to walk, we've learned how to talk, we've learned how to read and write, we've learned how to get along and to survive in this society, which is good. Well done, you've graduated being a child. Most people get stuck at that point though. Now you have the opportunity. You can take what you know and where you have now, and you can be like, I'm happy and I'm out. Bye. Which would be a big waste, and I feel bad for all the souls that haven't incarnated if that's what you keep choosing to do, because like, there's a lot of people that want to be here but they can't. Or you can take option number 2, which is, this imagination thing is a lot of fun and I really enjoy it, and let's start to play with it and test it and watch these kinds of videos and go down the rabbit hole that in this year of 2021 is easily summarized into just straight up personal development. That's what it comes down to, ladies and gentlemen. You don't need to study the Bible. You don't need to meditate every day. You don't need to have a 5 a.m. morning routine, and you don't need to listen or watch anything from anyone. However, if you start to practice some really fundamental, basic discipline within your life, whatever that entails, and if you start to objectively look at your own thought patterns and to say, I was thinking that and it wasn't so grand. Maybe I'll try something a little bit on the happier side. You will be. This is a Buddha Billionaire guarantee. You do this, you will be shocked as to how much of a transformation will and is occurring in your life. It has to happen. There is no stagnation. There is a time delay factor. There is a mirror that you have to learn how to interact with. There are other beings around that you bump into on a regular basis that have their own plans and their agendas. But at the end of the day, Buddhas, you are here being you, doing you, right now. And when you learn to observe that fact and to take even the most minute step in the direction of trusting and understanding, having that faith and that belief that you can actually do this thing that you want to do, then Buddhas, that's when it all changes. That's when you become blessed. And that's when you realize that at the end of the day, the only thing that freaking matters is to love yourself.